patch notes out. Let's see how they ruin the game this time, shall we? This is a joke. The game will be perfect, like always, right, guys? All right, Hearthstone updates. Overall, the meta has been in a pretty good spot right now with lots of competitive options for player across almost every class. There's our opportunities to some adjustments to hit the power outliers and play experience outliers. Okay, cool. The following cards have been adjusted. Sinful Brand, dude, F this card. This card can suck it. All right, this card sucks. Old branded enemy, whenever it takes damage, it deals 2 to it. Whenever it takes damage, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. New branded new enemy, when it takes, deal 1. So 1 to 2, pretty big change. That means that you literally have to do double the amount of damage or double the amount of attacks to get lethal, which is absolutely incredible. I think this card is one of the worst cards they've ever designed. So I'm really glad it's getting nerfed. Perfect response right here. Negative play experiences should be bolded and italicized just so people can actually really pull that out. Great change. Great change. Okay. Foul Scale Evoker going from 5 to 3. So big Demon Hunter archetype has been powerful. It's a powerful effect, makes it one of the strongest cards in the deck. Doesn't also need to be a threat on its own. See, the thing is like, I don't think the 5 attack to 3 attack is actually gonna matter. And I feel like this change is irrelevant because you're not playing this card for the attack, are you? You're playing it literally for the mana cheating. Like, you're playing it to summon a different demon from your deck. So maybe I'm wrong, but like, I can't imagine that this being nerfed is going to really stop people from playing an archetype unless it's purely just like a psychological thing. So, I mean, sure, if they really felt like the demon package was just really, really annoying, I completely understand, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Predation going from 3, deal 3 damage, cost 0 if you played a Naga while holding this, to 2, deal 2 damage, cost 0 if you played a Naga while holding this. Probably a great change. I think the card not being nerfed, Lady Senno or whatever the hell it's called, not being nerfed is a pretty big deal. Like, I feel like they should have probably focused on her, which they're talking about in the dev comment, but instead they're focusing like every card around it, which is fine, but like, this card will probably still be a problem, and if they think Demon Hunter is going to disappear, I seriously doubt it. The card is absolutely disgusting. So I guess it's fine. I guess it lowers the damage slightly, and the 3 to 2 damage breakpoint is a big deal. Like, this is probably one of the biggest breakpoints in the game from 3 to 2. So it will slow down Demon Hunter, but we'll see if it actually makes a big difference with this card still being into the game. So Battlefield Necromancer is going from 3 health to 2 health. Wasn't this card a 2/3, 2/2 to begin with? I know, no. So the corpses used to be a 1/2. So now they're making it a 2 to a 3. Again, so I just talked about the breakpoint here, about how big this is. This is a pretty big change because it allows a lot more decks to actually deal with this card and just doesn't snowball out of control. Probably pretty important if the Unholy archetype for Death Knight is absolutely popping off. So probably a pretty good change. This is probably just to lower the frustration against that deck because it's still pretty great. Probably a really, really good change here, to be honest. Blightfang. So I could be wrong, but wasn't Blightfang 4 mana to begin with? Or was it always 3 mana? It was just a 3/3. I actually can't remember. Both these decks were buffed last expansion, which was necessary when the last class was struggling. However, our current balance philosophy is that the changing fluid adjustments over time. Really like this change, by the way. I like how they keep adjusting. It was a 3 mana 3/3. Okay. Not decision set in stone. Unholy Death Knight is now the strongest deck on ladder, so it needs to be toned back. We're not reverting the prior buffs. We're just trying different adjustments to weaken it slightly, particularly in its matchup versus the other. Okay. So I'm going to talk about this for a little bit. Changing a card from 3 mana to 4 mana is so much harder of a nerf than just going back to a 3 mana 3/3. This at 4 mana makes this card significantly weaker. And I'm talking very, 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 very significantly weaker. Will this card be played? Probably. It's still a fine card, but like, that's a dramatic change over here. This is a really, really big change. It'll probably still see play. I think the card is good enough. If the meta calls for like board centric matchups, this is probably a huge change. This card probably blew your opponent out of the water if you just got it on a really, really good board. So I feel like this is probably fine. I don't think you dust it though, but it's probably still fine. Okay. High Cultist Baliseth. Chat, I'm so sorry for the naming. Old 4 mana, new 5 mana. So they're nerfing this card by 1 mana too. Holy crap. Aggro Priest is in a good spot right now at all levels of play, but especially at low levels. This reversion of the prior buff is intended to be a small adjustment to put it back in line with other decks. We expect this deck and this card in it to remain competitive. So 4 to 5 mana is not as significant as a change as 3 to 4, but this is a pretty big deal. I don't even know if this card makes the cut anymore. It might just be like the highest cost card in your deck other than the Shadow Enabler. What's his face? The priest guy? The bishop dude. I mean, the thing about this card is that it becomes significantly weaker because you need to have a board on turn 4 rather than turn 3, which in an aggressive deck, it may not seem like it's a big deal, but it kind of is a big deal. I don't know if you want to run this anymore. It might be too slow. It might be too slow. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it. Okay, so this is probably the biggest change. I can't wait to see what they're doing with the new recon. So old, it was gain 8 armor. Your next 3 minions this turn cost armor instead of mana. New battle cry, gain 5 armor. Wow. So 3 armor difference. Your next 3 minions this turn cost armor instead of mana. Dude, this is a ginormous change. Holy moly. This is a absolute ginormous change because no longer is this like a free 7/7 plus the additional mana cheating of armor. If this is the only armor that you're getting, if you have other armor, this card is still the exact same. But if you don't have armor, that's a really, really big change. New recon allows for a notable negative play experience that warps the meta around it. Absolutely true. It's almost like mana cheating is broken. This change does not prevent Druid players from making their big flashy plays, but it does mean that more setup is now required, which is probably good. We expect this to mean fans of the deck can still play it, but overall power, play rate, and influence of the meta will lessen. Yeah, really, really good idea here. This card is probably pretty toxic, and it was probably going to be toxic until it finally rotated out. This was just a very powerful effect. Good change. Force them to actually have more of a setup. This card does get weaker, though. Significantly weaker. I don't know if it's bad. I don't know if this is just enchantable, though. But it's still... I don't even know if you want to play the deck anymore. It really depends. Like, you are so much more vulnerable if you don't have a setup. So... is what it is. Scribbling, Stenographer. This is going from 6 to 7. Miracle Rogue is not a power outlier at most levels of play, but remains strong at prevalent higher levels of play. This is a minor adjustment to reflect its power level and its potential power level after the adjustment of cards in the patch. Probably fine. They're probably just nervous about Miracle Rogue taking over the metagame, which is probably great. Rogue's in a pretty good spot right now, I believe. And they probably don't want to not nerf it and make it like even stronger post-patch. Probably a fine change overall. It's probably still going to be played, but that one additional card is a pretty big deal. So that means your overall pop-off turns are either delayed by one whole turn. But, I don't really expect this to be a problem for Rogue because they still have concoctions, and concoctions are probably the best thing that they're doing. Okay, so you can get those for fully eligible for 2 weeks with this patch. So this is the buff cards. Whoa. 6 to 5 mana. Death Comet, players really love playing this card, but it's not very powerful. Hard agree. This changes to make it a little bit more palatable to play this exciting card. Probably a good change. This card suffers because of the variability of what you're going to be discovering through the Sin. That's a big change though, man. One turn earlier for an effect like this and shuffling those cards into your deck is really impactful. This actually might be one of the best changes for Warlock. And I'm really glad they did with this card because this card is pretty awesome. I don't know if this will bring Warlock to like tier 1, but it should bring them to like tier 2, tier 3. This card is like a win condition in itself, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah, they could have made you pick from any of the movements, but I don't think they have the UI set up for that. So I think that's why they didn't, because it'd be like so awkward on the screen. All right, from the depths, old 4 mana, reduce the cost of the bottom 5 cards in your deck by 3, then dredge. Now it is 3 mana. Reduce the cost of the bottom 5 decks by 2 and then dredge. So 1 mana cheaper, but you're reducing all 5 cards in your deck by 1 mana less. Is this a good change? Probably, yeah. I mean, so I talked about earlier how going from 3 mana to 4 mana with a card like Blyfang is a really big deal. It's the same thing as this. Like going from 4 mana to 3 mana is a drastic change because I don't even know what Warrior's doing on 3 mana. So it's probably fine. I would expect that this is actually not the worst thing in the world anymore. And if you end up hitting some good minions or some good powerful plays, this could be fine because at 3 mana, it's like, it doesn't feel as bad for playing it for 4 mana. This is a good change. I like how they changed how much mana it reduces to, because if they kept it at 3, it's like, I would want to cry in the corner because this is the type of card that can be very toxic, but good. Course Riff. Oh my God. Dude, did they buff all the riffs now? All the riffs got buffed now. Draw a minion, give it +2/+2. Finale, play your last rift. New, draw a minion, give it +3/+3. Holy moly. Okay. 3 mana to draw a minion and give it +3/+3 is pretty good. That's actually not a bad card. And it makes the rift package that much better. We recently made a few adjustments to the rift package, and those adjustments were successful in raising the play rate and power of the rifts package. But now Course Rift is the weakest of the rifts, and all the rifts need to be good for the package to be good. That's completely fair. This is a slight nudge to make the whole package a little stronger. That's really interesting. I wonder how much that's actually going to impact. Like, I actually think that's a pretty good card, because I thought this one was the best one by far. So now that it gives +3/+3 instead of +2/+2, actually might be insane. I would be, Chad, I'm gonna make a bold claim here. Warrior Stonks went up quite a bit, actually. This is good. This is good. The only real problem with this is, like, you're still playing Menagerie and you're still playing Black Rock and Roll. So I don't know if those win conditions really make that much of a difference, but this is a big change. All right, Demolition, Renovator, old battle card destroyed enemy location, new tradable battle card destroyed enemy location. Giving this card tradable, it probably should have had it at the beginning, but they didn't want to do it for Castle Nathria because it's like a United Stormwind thing. Good change. I don't expect this card to see any play still, but I mean, sure. Why not? Why not just give it tradable? That's probably a good change. Oh God, not Rotten Apple Bomb. Old was 4 attack, 5 health, taunt, death rattle will store 4 health to your hero. New, 4 attack, 6 health, taunt, death rattle will store 6 health to your hero. Yo, that's actually not the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. That's pretty good, man. 6 health to your hero, plus you got a 4/6 taunt, and it's an undead taunt. Not bad, not bad. Demolition Renovator has not seen, I mean, how could it see play, dude? So we wanted to make it feel better. Yeah, I guess it's fine. I still don't think this is going to make it playable. Maybe it should have been 3 mana and, like, just lower the stats, but whatever. Rotten Apple Bomb is getting a decent buff to add for slower options. Yeah, I think this is actually a pretty good change, especially because it's in the core set, right? And Blizzard, if you watch this video, please make more changes to the core set cards, because that is the biggest advantage you have with these core set cards. Please. Good change. Really, really good change. It makes a, like, an unplayable card playable for free, which is really, really great. All right, Pandoran Importer is going from 3 mana 2 attack to 4 health to 2 mana 1/3. Okay, so this card was changed because there was, like, a really weird rogue interaction a while ago, and then they just never changed it when it rotated out, I guess. So I guess they're unchanging it now. Or they're reverting the nerf, I should say. I said unchanging like a freaking idiot, but yeah, I get my point. Nothing to really say here. I'm not going to talk about Battlegrounds. If you guys want to talk about Battlegrounds, go watch a Battlegrounds streamer. I don't really play the mode, so I have no opinion on it. I don't really know duels either. We all saw what happened when I played duels. Anything else? Any important bug fixes here? Move to Heroic Tavern Brawl the next week to allow players to adjust a new patch. Fix the bug where the original version of Tour Guide was banned on all card pulls. Overall, I think the patch is probably good. I'm a huge fan of them doing patches more often. I think it's a really good thing for Hearthstone. And I believe the patch will be available today, like in probably 45 minutes when I post this video. So hope you guys liked it. What do you guys think of the patch, chat?